Good morning, everybody. Come on. We're almost at 100,000 Bitcoin. We're in a gaming and AI. Good morning, everybody. That's better. My name is Ivan. In the industry, I go by the Crypto Serpent. I have a star-studded lineup for you this morning. Give them a round of applause. From Simone to Ida to Michael to Alistair. Let's kick it off. Michael, introduce yourself. What do you do?
Wait.
Testing? Yes, we're working. Good morning, all. I'm the CEO of Playable Games. We're a global crypto gaming company. We sit in a space that we think offers enormous opportunity. We kicked off nearly 3 years ago. We currently have 2 games downloadable and free-to-play in the Epic Game Store, 3 more under production, with a plan to release 30 games over the next 70 years. And our native token is the Bull token, spelt 3ULL, and the Bull token is utilised across every one of our games. So we think we have the right recipe for utility, and we're forging forward in this very interesting space.
And I do have a question for you, Michael. Will we see you on the Bull at some stage during the weekend?
I'm getting a new hip in January, Ivan, so I'd prefer not to actually have to get that new hip tomorrow.
Okay. We'll let you. Alistair?
Hello, everybody. I'm Alistair. I am from Protocol Theory. We are a Web3 and crypto consumer insights company. I think we're the only one of those on the entire planet. So we help our clients to grow their business by better understanding the crypto market and the Web3 market, and more importantly, the users within it. Me personally, I've been in insight and innovation for about 25 years, mostly in financial services and then in big tech. And then I quit my job in London and moved to the other side of the world and joined a crypto exchange. And now I work for Protocol Theory. So I am a reformed and recovering Googler, realizing the error of my ways. I'm an old school, very much an old school first generation console gamer. I think I had the first ever machine that could actually accept a cartridge to play a video game. It was made by Texas Instruments. My portfolio is stacked with gaming cryptos, of course, but I must stress I am not here in any technical capacity today. I think our industry is blessed with enough talented people who are focused on the tech. I am here on behalf of the neglected minority, aka the user. So yeah, it's great to be here, and I'll pass it on.
My name's Simone Clow. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Zebrar. We create traditional games, not necessarily Web3 games. We come from feature films, we come from AAA games, so our priority is user experience, visual fidelity, game stickiness over tech. I am on the Australian Metaverse Advisory Council, so I'm a very big advocate for Metaverse for Purpose, and I support women in tech, and that's one of my passions. That's me.
Hi, my name is Ida, and currently I am the Chief Legal Officer for WeGG, which is the largest gaming guild, Web3 gaming guild in Southeast Asia. We have about 150K strong players. But what we do is that we supply players to play games. You have a game, you need people to play the games. They come to guilds like us, and we provision that. We are also a distribution platform. Just think of us like Alibaba, all right? That whereby we put the gamers and the game developers, the game studios to come together, and essentially from there they get other stuff. Why am I in gaming? That's a really good question. I'm actually, by background, on DeFi. I've been involved in a lot of DeFi projects. I'm brought into gaming is because of the tokenomics on crypto that largely run on Web3 gaming, on token sinks and token sourcing. which we will talk about it a bit later, and also the regulations that's now coming up that that is actually governing that. So we're very big in Indonesia. We're very big in the Philippines. We're now launching a huge guild in Thailand, and looking forward to this too.
Fantastic. Thank you all so very much. It's really, really interesting where we're at the moment in the Web3 gaming space, and we're so, so happy to have you guys here to talk about it. And I'm going to kick it off with Simone, coming from the traditional background of, the web, gaming being built. Where do you, the question for you, for you panelists today is, where do you see at the moment the Web3 gaming space? And primarily, what do you think are the key challenges at the moment? We'll kick off with Simone.
Okay, so for me, I would say that it's leading with tech over user experience.
Yep.
And to me, that is the downfall because the tech just isn't there to support seamless gameplay. The lag, the latency on blockchain to process those transactions per second is not delivering the content in real time, A. Second, interoperability. We don't have that yet, and interoperability is key for so common standards to allow us to scale. And well, they're probably the two key issues. So therefore, because of those, we can't deliver the content and the stickiness that we would want to deliver to make good replayable gameplay. Add that to the barrier to entry of the crypto wallet and you've got yourself a little problem.
Yes, yes. Either from a legal perspective and from that side, what do you think are some of the major challenges that we're facing in this space?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is US, but now that Trump is in power, that might change radically. So we'll have to see how it goes. All eyes is on Roblox at the moment because there is a case in the court in the US on Roblox. Roblox does a lot of things that Web3 gaming do. Loot, microtransactions, and then they do season pass, and then after that, when the season pass finishes, you can't claim any more credits and nothing. This is all the same things that Web3 gamings are doing and incentivize. So there was a class action by the parents against Roblox. So some of the claims has been settled out of court, some of them has not, and all eyes is on that because once the decision has been made on that, it will basically trickle down and basically be used to be an adoptive stance from a lot of things. So aside from that is the usual thing. Because in Web3 gaming, we use tokens to incentivize people. We pay you to stay interested. We reward you in tokens, so you keep on playing. We reward you in tokens, so you tell us whether the game is good. How is it good? Where can it be improved? So therefore, the token part and the regulation of the token is still the same thing that we face in regulation. Is it a security token? Is it a utility token? That's one thing, and also the payment system that goes in there, because now you can use the token to cash out, to exchange, to swap. Are you actually running a gambling activity? Just imagine you're in a casino, you play chips, you take the chips, and then you can cash it out at another platform, another counter. What is the difference between that and a Web3 gaming? It's the same, so therefore,
yes. I agree. Now, Alistair, you did tell us that you're all about the user experience, and now I've got to, and from a user experience, right? So we've heard a little bit from a gaming studio perspective and from a legal perspective. What do you think the players are thinking when they play these games for the first time at the moment?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so from a user perspective, Web3 gaming and mainstream gaming, they exist in two different worlds. Okay, they've got different communities, different people, and different drivers, right? And currently the drivers in Web3 gaming are just not powerful enough to bridge that gap between these two worlds, okay? So for Web3 gamers, there are three things that really drive them to play these games. The first one is obvious, right? And we've talked about it. It's the token, okay? Crypto-related rewards. And that's great, right? That's part of what we're trying to do. And it's really powerful, actually. Across APAC, 41% of Web3 gamers are playing these games to support their income. That's amazing, right? What an amazing application of blockchain technology when, in theory, this is helping people to pay their bills. On the one hand, this is amazing, okay? But if you look at crypto adoption globally, what is it? 8%. Right? In APAC, across connected populations, you get up to 24%. That means that the #1 driver for playing a Web3 game is irrelevant to 3 out of 4 people. Now, that will change over time, but at the moment, that's a big problem. Second thing that doesn't translate between these two worlds is a big reason why Web3 gamers play is because they want to be part of the innovation, right? They are, categorically, they are innovators. They are early adopters. They have a really big risk appetite and they love being part of new technology, okay? So if you look at Web3 gaming, most of it is still in like early development phase. Everything's still in beta, right? Web3 gamers love that. Mainstream gamers, they are not gonna invest the time, the money, and the energy to play something that isn't finished yet. It's just not what they do, okay? So that's problem #2. And that's a big one because as a reason for playing Web3 games, being part of the innovation is actually just as powerful as getting the rewards. Not my opinion, this is the research that we've done on it. The third issue, let's see if I can remember this off the top of my head. Yes, it's a massive narrative for the industry, right? Being able to own the assets that you get when you play a game, okay? Key narrative for the industry. It's the third biggest driver why Web3 gamers play the games. Unfortunately, that doesn't translate either. You talk to mainstream gamers, they do not understand the value of owning these assets. So again, look, I think all 3 of these things are things that will change over time. I think if you look at Web3 gaming, like we say, oh, why is it broken? Actually, I think a lot of what's happening is Web3 is a normal and a natural and a necessary part of the innovation process, okay? Like, so battle testing new tech and doing it in a niche is actually a really good thing to do. So I think we're actually on an okay path.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, Michael, with Playable Games and the company that you've built, and fantastic, by the way, what you guys are showcasing here this weekend. How does your development studio tackle some of the things that have been mentioned? I've seen you agree already with some of the things that have been mentioned, but how do you tackle this?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, everything that's been said, I 100% agree with. I think the good news, Alistair, is that I'm also not very technical. So if I start to glaze over, I'm talking too technical. But yeah, look, a couple of points that I will refer to there that were raised. I think user experience is everything. And that is another challenge we have in transitioning. It's not just transitioning, it's creating a new player group. I mean, there is an addressable market identified of over 3 billion people who say they play games. But the truth of the matter is that, as Alistair and Simone have alluded to, they are not necessarily crypto gamers, and indeed, a small percentage of them are. So for us, the challenge, or the way we identified the challenge and what we saw is we're lucky that we're, I guess, following on from, and we're unabashed about this. We looked at the biggest players in crypto gaming, which last cycle was Gala Games, and we looked at what they did and how they did it, and sometimes it's better not to be the pioneer. And we took a lot of those learnings and we've applied them. We've also stayed away from producing games for the sake of producing games, which is what we think a lot of the crypto players have done. And that's why they've produced clickers, basically. They're games that have very low levels of engagement. I feel sorry for the people who are having to play them to earn some crypto because they're no fun. I mean, for us, the game experience itself is critical. The user experience that both of you spoke about is really important. We want people to play these games, whether there's crypto in them or not. We want them to be a great experience. Now, of course, we don't have $300 million budgets to build every game because we're not selling them for $69.95. Our games are free to download and they're free to play and free to earn. So that's important to us, and it's tricky to produce high quality games on budgets that people would sometimes laugh at. That takes a lot of work, and that's probably one of the biggest challenges we face every day, is ensuring that the quality of our games stand up to that test, and that we're not producing something that's typically crypto-ish. So for us, it's about creating that. We do it a number of ways. I mean, our Discord community is a really strong resource to us. There's currently nearly 30,000 members in that Discord community who support and assist and get through that, people to get through that barrier, because it is still difficult. The whole wallet setup and linking everything, it's not an easy thing to do unless you are into crypto. Likewise, the whole notion of people playing to earn and trying to make sure that you overcome all the issues around that. I mean, when we launched Nexus originally, we were inundated with multi-accounts and people who had 10 people a day, 10 people in one IP address playing the game, and we know there's that type of element out there. So it's all about adjusting protocols and introducing things that make sure that you've got legitimate one-on-one players and that you have a great gaming experience for everyone involved. So for us, that's evolved with our game Nexus. We've had to spend time ensuring that we improve that experience. So the experience is critical.
Absolutely.
And
I've got a
education.
question. Absolutely. So I've got a question for the room. Who's ever played GTA? Hands up. So in 90 seconds or less, and I'll kick it off with Ida, there have been rumors now for the last 3.5 years that GTA, when it launches in 2025, will have some form of blockchain component to it. Now, in 90 seconds or less, if that were to come out with the sheer amount of users that GTA will have, Ida, what do you think are going to be some of the challenges there?
Okay, I think the closest parallel that we can draw is off the grid. Okay, now Web3 games have difficulty moving into Web2 because Web2 gamers don't like Web3 games. Okay, Off the Grid is the only one that I know, aside from Pirate Nation, that has successfully done that. Check out that game, okay, if you have the time. So what are the challenges that we have seen from that example of Off the Grid, okay? Is that what they did well was that they hide the blockchain. So you don't need to mint an NFT. You don't need to connect wallets. You don't need to do all these things, go to a marketplace, which a lot of Web3 gaming have to do. You just play off the grid. The blockchain is all hidden at the back. The lore, the storytelling, everything is there. And that's why you still capture the Web2 gamers. It is
Simone,
a good game to play.
Simone, what about yourself? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to pass.
What Ida said.
Mostly because I didn't hear the question. It's too loud. I'm old. I'm deaf.
The question was if GTA 6 has a Web3 component to it, what are your thoughts?
I'm still out.
Yeah, look, I think that if they throw a coin into the mix, then what you're doing is you're inviting speculation. Speculation is the root of all evil in Web3. Okay, it's what makes it really exciting, but think about what it does, right? It rewards and incentivizes short-term behavior. Builders, investors can get a huge return by just having the promise of a good game and a well-coordinated token release. And then the second problem is you've got a massive conflict of interest, right? Investors want to get a quick return, they dump the token, and what happens? If you've been earning the token, all that value you've accrued suddenly vanishes, and with it, the incentive to play the game. So if you have a coin, make it a stable coin at least, and then you avoid that problem.
That's a good tip. What about yourself, Michael? Any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, look, I mean, again, I can only talk to our experience and how we, I guess, have addressed those types of issues. Having a marketplace is important. Having something where people can actually take what they've earned and turn it into something and sell it is critical. the ownership of assets is really important. And I think in a game like GTA, when you get yourself a unique vehicle or whatever it is, or a nice hat, you know, being able to get that locked into the blockchain and being able to sell it and trade it introduces a whole new sort of facet to the game. And of course, they have the advantage of, as Ida described, you can either do it in the back end so that it's not clunky and it's not visible, or you can develop UIs that, you know, are seamless and are simple for people. So, you know, they'd be in a really good place if they did it. The question for me is more, why haven't they? And what's going on there, what's stopping them? And I think, you know, that goes to this whole challenge that we have in crypto, of reputation and of, you know, the shady characters that lurk in the shadows in this space.
They're always out there. I mean, they're always out there. So we've identified the problems, but let's look into the future. Let's look into what does the Web3 gaming space look like next year and in the coming years. And we're going to kick it off with Alistair from a user experience. So what do you think are some of the key innovations that need to take place so that we bridge this gap that we obviously are aware of between the Web2 gaming and Web3 gaming space right now? What would you like to see?
I'd like to see, I mean, you've already mentioned it, I'd love to see GTA use the tech. I'd like to see them use it in a sensible way. And I've already mentioned I had my little rant about speculation. I think they need to avoid that. And in the meantime, you need to see more of that. Like we know what the problem is. We know what we're aiming for. And you know, like I say, I think what's happening. I think the point's been well made already. The tech is not ready for mainstream, right? It still needs to be battle tested, and I think it still makes sense to do that in a niche until it's ready. So I actually think we're going in the right direction. I think the industry is making progress, and I think that as crypto becomes more relevant to more people, that's going to help us cross that bridge as well.
Fantastic. Simone, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think there's been a few small steps, like the Polygon chain is faster in terms of transactions per second. It's less expensive economically, and it's less expensive power-wise, so energy-wise, so it's more environmental. So I think it's made some small steps. So I also think we probably need to look at a hybrid model. So at the moment in a traditional game, you've got all these assets and player data and stuff. That doesn't necessarily need to be on the blockchain. That can actually be centralized, which does two things. Yeah. It reduces the latency, so it means that the game is faster and more seamless, and it means that we're not chewing up power for unnecessary reasons. I also think that thanks to our new US president, crypto is going to become more regulated, which will give it more a big widespread adoption, so it won't be such a barrier to entry. Yes. And I think that one would like to think that in a few years' time, the Web3 game community will take a look at traditional gameplay and understand what the key drivers are in terms of UX.
Yes. What about yourself, Ida?
There's a lot of things, but I think one of the biggest things that's going to happen in 2025, because we are talking about crypto, we're talking about digital assets, is what we call cross-chain asset, digitizing of asset on a cross-chain basis. 1inch has done it, QuickSwap has done it already. So with this, they're targeting gamers, because now you can actually tokenize your asset games and then move it to different environments. And I think this is going to explode, because in year 2025, it's also the year of what we call real-world assets. So IP, which is very strong in gaming, is going to be a real-world asset that can be moved from chain to chain, can be traded as well.
Brilliant. And what about yourself, Michael?
Yeah, look, I think for me, what we're doing is really the hybrid approach at the moment. So we have because of those latency issues, because of those gameplay issues, we've opted to run the games, and again, at danger of getting into technical territory, which I don't want to do, we've opted to run the games on for example, for AWS, and the player profiles, the assets, they're what links back to the blockchain. So we've managed to achieve, you know, a level of gameplay that's comparable to Web 2. There isn't clunkiness, the games are fast, the latency is great, and they're running well. But I guess that hybrid solution was our solution to that challenge. Now, there's a lot that I see our blockchain developers doing that hasn't been done before. So that learning curve is steep. I mean, it's not like if you wanted to, you know, put a network in your office, there's 10,000 people down the road that can do that for you tomorrow. To build a blockchain that interfaces with a game, there's not that many people who have done a lot of it. So, you know, you're always doing new things, looking at things in different ways, and you're constantly innovating. So I guess without really thinking about it, we've probably done a lot of innovating over the last 3 years to try and make sure that these things operate as they should, which, you know, is why we're also very interested in AI and the application of that, because what we're really trying to do is we're really trying to do what AAA studios do on a fraction of the budget.
Yes, yes. Give him a round of applause. We are going to open up the Q&A, so I'm going to come around with the mic, and if you have any questions, now
I
is the
have
time.
a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may ask a
I
question.
have a question for the Web3 guys. In Web3 gaming, what is the motivation? Is it play to earn or is it play to own? That's my question.
Oh.
Look, I mean, we see both. We see both. So certainly, you know, if you've spent 1,000 hours in World of Warcraft and you have a falling out and you get kicked out of it, everything you've built is gone. And even if you decide, well, I've got 3 kids now, so I'm not playing World of Warcraft anymore, can I sell that sword or that shield or that helmet? Well, you can't. You know, there isn't any way of monetising those thousands of hours. So there's no doubt there's a number of players who see the value in that, in certain game genres. But you've got to have a marketplace that facilitates it. You've got to have things that are selling. I was talking to one of our gamers this morning, in fact, about one of our games that we released 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about he was buying cards. It's our fantasy card game, and he was buying cards on the marketplace, and he decided he'd buy individual cards. And so it's just great to hear that there's a use case where someone is using the marketplace in a game that's only been out for 2 weeks, and a second-hand marketplace.
Alistair, I know you want to talk, but let's run some questions from the
really
crowd.
quick one. The thing you've just described is an amazing application for blockchain technology, but this is what I'm saying. For most people, they don't see the benefit in that. So it's going to take us time to explain the value of that and help people to realise why that's
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions from the crowd? Yeah.
It's the question, but it's the question I couldn't answer myself.
I've got a question for Michael. I'm just wondering, you say you can download the games for free and you can play them for free, so how does Bull make its money?
Yeah. So you say, how does the player make money or how does the company make money? Yeah. Yeah, really good point. Look, obviously we are relying on players wanting to buy. So there's different groups of players. So you'll have your play-to-earn focused players who don't spend money in game. They're happy to grind it out and build their assets, and you know they've got time but not money. Then you've got your players who've got money but not time. So you know those people won't necessarily be prepared to grind it out. So Starve and Martian, our Mars survival game, for example, you can fast track your progress in that by buying some space corn or whatever it is. Yeah, so you're buying assets. But there's also those unique things that you get in-game. You might win them through battle, you might buy them and then they become valuable because they're a limited release that you can sell through the marketplace. So you might have won a sword, you took it off someone in battle, and it's one of two in the ecosystem. Now that's going to have some value to some people. So absolutely we're relying on people having that desire to spend our bull token in-game.
It's a great question, by the way. Any other questions?
Oh, you can have it. I'm sure nobody's got a question for me.
Hi there, thank you to all the panelists, that was awesome. Now most of us are tech heads or gamers trying to innovate and provide a solution, but my question is for Simone. If you're coming from a traditional gaming space, is there an opportunity or a problem from that space that you think crypto or blockchain is going to help with?
Oh, that is a good question. Look, I think I'll use Sandbox as an example. The way they've got the verifiable NFT ledger is really smart in terms of you being able to own your game assets. And I think that when we have, you know, I talk about the metaverse a lot, and I genuinely believe in that. And what we need is interoperability. And once we have interoperability, the ability to have the chain of title, I think, will become really, really important. So I definitely see that technology. I see my future. I see the ethos of decentralization working alongside the fun, the ease, and the stickiness of traditional gameplay. And that's the space I think that we will see traditional games and Web3 games merge in the future.
Fantastic. Now, Ida, you had a question?
No, it's just basically to answer on the play-to-earn part, okay? When it comes to gaming, look at Asia. Play-to-earn is practically on a sunset at the moment now. It's now play-to-airdrop. One of the reasons why Play-to-Airdrop came in is because it addresses the inflation problem that Play-to-Earn provokes. So Play-to-Airdrop is whereby even if you play, it doesn't mean you're going to earn it. You have to make the leaderboard. You have to do more stuff. You have to show that you're a good actor, and then it will airdrops to you. So there's a few things that actually, so it's in that sense, you reward the right people and you control the speculation nature of it. So you want to see things, look to Asia, look to Indonesia, look to Philippines. They are moving very fast in terms of user Web3 gaming behavior. Yeah.
We've gone a little bit over time, but one more time, give it up for this amazing panel. Thank you very much.